Hello, dear friends. Welcome to Channel Crime Story Diaries. Imagine the perfect couple. In love, married, with a child on the way, on the verge of a new life. And now imagine that in an instant, it all turns out to be an illusion. The beautiful wife vanishes. The husband is in despair. The police are baffled. What happened? This is the story of Mark and Lori Hacking. Young, successful, happy. At least that's how it seemed. But one July morning in 2004, Lori went for a jog and was never seen again. The police launched an investigation that step by step revealed a terrible truth. The truth about betrayal, deception, and carefully hidden secrets. What was Mark really hiding? What price did Lori pay for his lies? And who is to blame for what happened on the night of July 19th? We will now uncover for you one of the most dramatic and mysterious criminal cases of our time, the story of Lori Hacking's disappearance. So stay with us. Mark Hacking was born on April 24, 1976, in Orem, Utah, USA. He was the fifth child in a religious Mormon family of Doug and Janet Hacking, who had 7 children, 4 sons and 3 daughters. The family belonged to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which played an important role in their lives. Mark's father was a respected pediatrician, providing the family with high social status and material well-being. All of the Hacking children were gifted and successful, each in their own field. Mark grew up as an active boy with red hair and freckles and was very sociable. However, from childhood, he had a tendency to lie for attention or to avoid problems. He felt internal pressure to succeed like his siblings, so he made up stories to seem more interesting. At age 19, as is customary for young Mormon men, Mark went on a missionary journey. At first, everything was going well, as his extroverted personality helped him connect with people and convert new believers. But later, Mark began to lead a double life, preaching during the day and secretly hanging out with friends in the evening, violating church rules. When the leadership found out, he was sent home early. To avoid embarrassment for his family, Mark lied that he had been the victim of a misunderstanding. Lori Suarez was born on December 31, 1976, in California. At the age of 4 months, she and her older brother Paul were adopted by Thelma and Harold Suarez. In 1987, after her parents' divorce, Lori moved to Utah with her mother, as Paul stayed with his father. The girl became very close to her mother. Lori attended Orem High School and was a simple, kind, and sincere girl. Her classmates loved her for her friendly nature. Lori was elected class representative several times, and she was also passionate about baseball. The family was not well off, so the girl worked part-time at a car wash to help her mother. She was serious and responsible, dreaming of marrying a boy from her church community, creating a loving family, and having children. Mark and Lori met in high school, as they both belonged to the Mormon community. Despite being in different grades, there was an immediate spark between them. From then on, Mark and Lori became inseparable, forming a great couple. The young man charmed the girl with his humor and wit. In 1999, when Lori was 22 and Mark was 21, they got married. It seemed that they had a bright future ahead of them. Mark and Lori seemed like the perfect couple. Everyone around them could see how much they loved each other. Mark was a very attentive husband, often giving Lori flowers. The couple taught together at Sunday school. Mark gained the community's respect through his friendliness and willingness to help. Meanwhile, Lori finished her studies and got a job as an assistant at Wells Fargo. She worked hard to support the family, while Mark, according to him, was studying at university. In reality, Mark had dropped out of college back in 2002, but carefully hid this fact. Every morning, he would pack his books, pretending to go to class, and then return home when Lori left for work. All day, Mark played video games, and in the evening, he would complain about difficult studies and lock himself in a room, pretending to write papers. Sometimes he would arrange meetings with Lori on campus to make everything look plausible. When Mark was supposed to graduate from university, he pretended to be sick on the day of the graduation ceremony. Lori believed him, and the family held a celebration later. There, Mark took photos in a graduation gown and cap, as if he had actually received a diploma. Later, he began to supposedly travel to various states for interviews at medical universities. These trips were paid for by Lori, as she was the one earning most of the money. She believed in her husband's dream and supported him. So in 2004, Mark announced that he had been accepted to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill School of Medicine in the oncology department. The couple began preparing for the move, as Mark was supposedly going to study there, continuing his father's work. Lori quit her job, and in July, they organized a farewell party. Everyone was happy for Mark and his beloved wife, who was also pregnant. It seemed that a bright future awaited them. But a few days before leaving, a disturbing incident occurred. On July 16th, Lori received a phone call at work and went home upset afterward, not explaining anything to anyone. However, at the farewell party on July 18th, the couple again looked happy. No one even suspected what a terrible secret was hiding behind the facade of their ideal life. On the morning of July 19th, 2004, 27-year-old Lori Hacking went for a run as usual. She was going to train in the Memory Grove Park wooded area in Salt Lake City and then go to work. Mark was supposed to drive her to the office at 7 a.m. in his car, as they had agreed the night before. When he woke up, Mark did not see his wife at home. He assumed that Lori was still running and went back to sleep. Mark woke up at 8 a.m., but Lori was still not there. Looking out the window, he saw that her car was gone from the parking spot. Mark thought that his wife simply didn't want to wake him up and had gone to work on her own. But at 10:07 a.m., the worried husband called the police and reported that Lori had gone running but had not returned. He was supposedly very concerned, as this was completely unlike her. When Mark saw Lori's work uniform prepared the night before at home, he realized that she had not intended to go to the office. At 10:30 a.m., he officially reported his wife missing to the police. Soon, Lori's car was found parked near the park entrance. There were no signs of a struggle or other indications of the woman's presence in the vehicle. Lori had vanished without a trace, although her personal belongings remained at home. Mark notified Lori's family and colleagues. Everyone unanimously assured that she was too responsible to miss work without notice. Mark and the family's friends combed the park, but found no trace of Lori. The husband told the police that he knew the route his wife usually ran, but she was not there either. The detectives began the investigation and immediately noticed several strange facts. Lori's personal belongings, her purse with documents, wedding ring, and car keys, were left at the couple's house. Why leave these if she had just gone out for a run? In the bedroom, they found a brand new mattress with packaged bedding. Mark explained that he had thrown out the old mattress a few days ago because Lori had supposedly heavily stained it with blood during her menstruation. When asked where they had slept for those few days, the husband replied that they simply slept on the mattress box without the mattress itself. On the nightstand next to the bed, a hunting knife with blood was found. According to Mark, it was the knife he had used the day before, which is why traces remained on it. The police found out that it was on the very morning of July 19th at 10:23 a.m. that Mark bought a new mattress. The receipt was in his car. Why buy a mattress just minutes after his wife's disappearance? Another strange fact. In Lori's car, the driver's seat was pushed far back, as if someone much taller than Lori had been sitting there. Among the woman's personal notes, the detectives found a letter where she wrote to Mark that she would divorce him if he did not change. All suspicions were now focused on Mark Hacking, and the police quickly uncovered the terrible truth about his double life. The detectives uncovered shocking facts about the main suspect's biography. It turned out that Mark had not enrolled in medical school at all and had even dropped out of college 2 years ago. He had been deceiving his wife, family, and friends, pretending to be a diligent student. Every morning, Mark would pack his books as if he was going to class, but he would return home as soon as his wife left for work. In reality, he spent the whole day playing video games and loafing around. Sometimes, Mark would even lock himself in a room pretending to be writing term papers. And the trips supposedly for interviews in other cities? That was a lie too, as Lori paid for all the expenses for his travels, believing it was an investment in their future. The deception had been going on since Mark had supposedly graduated from university. On the day of the graduation ceremony, he pretended to be sick and did not attend the event. In order not to upset Lori and his relatives, the man later took photos in a gown and cap, creating the illusion of a successful graduate. The lie about being admitted to medical school was supposed to be the pinnacle of his years of fabrications. Lori quit her job, preparing for the move to North Carolina. At the farewell party, the couple received congratulations, everyone rejoicing in their bright future. But a few days before that, something happened that forever changed their lives. On July 16th, Lori called the university in Chapel Hill to inquire about financial aid for Mark, and she heard shocking news. Such a student did not exist at all. At first, the woman did not believe it and began looking for evidence, but eventually, she realized that the whole world they had built with her husband was a complete lie. 2 days later, Lori wrote Mark a letter saying that she was ready to divorce him if he did not change. She dreamed of having a loving family, giving birth to a child, but she could not live like this any longer. Lori told only her closest friend about the conflict, so everyone around them thought they were still a happy couple. Witnesses heard the couple arguing loudly late in the evening on July 18th, the day before Lori's disappearance. The pregnant woman was tired of her husband's lies, now that he had been exposed, and threatened him with divorce. For Mark, who had long built a fake image of a successful person, this was the last straw. He could not allow his secrets to be revealed and destroy everything around him. So Mark Hacking decided to silence his wife forever. All the evidence pointed to Mark Hacking's involvement in his wife's disappearance. The examination showed that the traces of blood on the hunting knife found in the couple's bedroom belonged to Lori. Forensic experts also found blood in the interior of Mark's car, and in a dumpster near the Hacking's house, the police found a bloody mattress with a cut-off piece. But the investigation lacked direct evidence to charge Mark with murder. Lori's body was still missing. At that time, the main suspect suddenly began to behave strangely. On July 24th, Mark was found naked in a motel wearing only slippers on his feet. He seemed to have gone mad, so he was sent to a psychiatric hospital. But experts concluded that Mark was pretending to be insane in order to avoid responsibility. Then 2 of his brothers came to the hospital. They persuaded Mark to confess what had really happened to Lori, and the suspect told them about his life full of lies. For over 2 years, Mark had been deceiving his family that he was studying at university, although he had long since dropped out. He admitted that he had shot Lori on the night of July 19th when she was sleeping in their bed at 5 weeks pregnant. And all this was so that his wife would not expose his lies. Mark said that he had thrown Lori's body and the bloody mattress, cut with a knife, into different dumpsters. And in the morning, he drove her car to the park and staged a disappearance scene. The brothers passed this chilling information on to the police, and on August 2nd, 2004, Mark Hacking was arrested on suspicion of murder. But there was still no body, so the detectives put all their efforts into finding it. Police officers with dogs searched the city landfill where waste was taken from the dumpsters Mark used to dispose of the evidence. At the huge site, which contained over 4,000 tons of solid waste, finding anything seemed impossible. But on October 1st, 2004, 2 months after Mark's confession, one of the detectives stumbled upon a clump of hair resembling Lori's. Upon closer inspection, it became clear that these were human remains, albeit severely damaged. Only through dental analysis were forensic experts able to establish that this was Lori Hacking's body. Unfortunately, the exact cause of death could not be determined due to the condition of the remains. However, the police's suspicions were confirmed. Mark had killed his pregnant wife to protect his fabricated life full of lies. Mark's confession and the discovery of Lori's body were proof of his guilt. But unexpectedly, the defendant refused to plead guilty to murdering his wife. Perhaps the fear of life imprisonment made him try to avoid punishment. Lori's parents begged Mark to plead guilty so as not to drag out the trial. Eventually, he agreed to a deal with the prosecution.
Let's start this. I haven't been involved with the case very much. I've been over at the DA's office all day. They were just sitting up there just a little bit before you came out. What I need you to do is kind of just tell me, in your words, what's been going on so far today.
My wife got up at 5 this morning, went running. And I stayed in bed. I woke up at 8 and she hadn't awakened me.
Okay, did the cops arrive shortly after you, or were they already there?
No, they told me they couldn't look for her for 24 hours.
That's what they told you on the phone? Okay. So how did you finally get them up there?
Other people called.
Other people called? Do you know who? So other people called and then they said they'd go up there?
People she works with, co-workers, but I don't know who.
Did you call them and tell them that that's what they had told you or anything? Her fellow workers, or did they all just start calling in on their own?
When I got to Memory Grove this morning, they knew what was going on because I'd been on the phone with them and I told them what was going out there, and they just showed up.
All of our friends?
Yeah.
Okay. Friends were at Memory Grove.
On April 15, 2005, Mark Hacking pleaded guilty to murdering Lori and concealing her body. He was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after at least 6 years. Yes, you read that correctly. Only 6 years for the brutal murder of his pregnant wife. This was the maximum term allowed by Utah law at the time. However, the parole board stated that given the horrific circumstances of the crime, Mark would spend at least 30 years in prison. He will only be able to apply for early release in 2035. Lori's family removed the Hacking surname from her tombstone, refusing any association with the killer. On June 6, 2005, Mark's father made public a letter from his son in which he expressed deep remorse. "I know that my place is in prison. I will spend my time here doing everything possible to atone for the numerous sins I have committed. I have caused pain to many people and I apologize. My soul burns with torment when I think about what you have had to go through. I wish I could take away your pain. I wish I could undo all the lies I lived and replace them with the truth. I wish I could return Lori to your embrace. But I deserve my suffering and you do not. From the bottom of my heart, I beg for your forgiveness." So the life of 27-year-old Lori Hacking was tragically cut short on the night of July 19, 2004. She was killed by her own husband, Mark, who had been deceiving everyone around him for years. He could not come to terms with the fact that his wife had found out about his lies and was going to divorce him. Because of his inability to accept reality, Mark took the life of his beloved wife and unborn child. This tragedy was a terrible blow to Lori's family. Her mother, Thelma, said in an interview 10 years after her daughter's murder, "I was able to forgive Mark, but I will never be able to forget what he did." Relatives are trying to preserve Lori's bright memory, for which a scholarship in her name was established at the University of Utah. It is awarded to girls from difficult life circumstances who strive to get an education despite adversity. Currently, Mark Hacking is serving his sentence in a Utah state prison. In 2005, he wrote, "There is no such thing as a safe lie, no matter how small it may seem. You may think that deception will only harm the one who deceives, but that is far from the truth. If you are on the wrong path, stop and accept the consequences. Whatever they may be, it is better than the pain you inflict on yourself and others." Indeed, the story of Mark Hacking proves this bitter truth. His inability to accept the truth about his own failures and his fear of being overshadowed by his more successful siblings led to a life filled with deceit. And when everything was exposed, Mark could not come to terms with it. His selfishness and criminal choice cost Lori and their unborn child their lives. This tragedy destroyed not only the life of his wife, but also Mark's own future. Thus, Mark Hacking's crime has become a terrible example of what a life built on complete lies can lead to. The inability to accept reality and one's own mistakes destroys a person and endangers everyone around them. So this story should be remembered as a warning not to follow the path of deception, which always ends in tragedy. After all, lies cannot last forever, and the price paid for them is too terrible. Traditionally, Thank you for watching and remind you that it would be great if you support the video by liking and subscribing to the channel. It's always interesting and sometimes even creepy.